Hi, I'm here to talk to you today about the Tools of Recovery. This is a part of the Tools of Recovery series. This segment is going to be about sponsorship. So, what is sponsorship? Why do people get sponsors? Maybe when you go to meetings you hear people talk about that. Meeting with their sponsor, working the steps with their sponsor. So, sponsorship is a tool because a lot of people in their addiction are very disconnected. They're very isolated. They kind of know maybe their drug dealer and their partner, and that's about it, and their kids. So recovery is pretty much the opposite of that. It's about getting connected, about breaking the pattern of isolation. It's about getting to know people and letting in on our secrets, letting them in on what's been keeping us in our addiction. So the fastest way to get connected is to get a sponsor. So you're going to the meetings, maybe you're sitting at the meetings, maybe you like the meetings but you kind of come late, you leave early, you don't really know anybody there. So getting a sponsor is a way to start to get to know somebody, that somebody's looking for you at the meeting, somebody knows your name, somebody is waiting for you. The purpose of a sponsor is to help you work through the 12 steps. And so the 12-step program is about working through the 12 steps. But there's so many other benefits and tools and reasons to work with a sponsor. It's, getting to know somebody. Usually when you get a sponsor, they're going to give you an assignment. A very common assignment is call me every day for 30 days. So new people are thinking, why am I calling this person that I don't even know? What do I talk about? So kind of let go of all those questions of why. Because recovery is a lot about just taking suggestions, doing what you're told without analyzing everything. Because a lot of recovery is about changing behavior. So it's really, there's nothing to think about and there's no why. It's just, you got to change behavior. And a big behavior that people have is isolation. Call your sponsor every day for 30 days. It's a way that they test to see if you're serious about recovery. Because only people that are serious about recovery, who are desperate enough, who are willing to go to any lengths, are the ones that are going to follow through and call. Some people may be required to get a sponsor for court or something, and they just want a name of somebody, but they don't actually want to call them, they don't want to talk to them. So, of course, those relationships aren't going to be very good or work very well. But once you do get a sponsor, call them every day for 30 days, even if it feels scary, even if it feels awkward. Another assignment a sponsor may give is call 3 people in recovery every day, which is scary. But again, it's a way to break the isolation and break the behavior, because changing addictive behavior is about changing behavior, and you can't think your way out of it, you can't read your way out of it. You have to change behavior. And so I always tell people they really need to get out of their comfort zone. So if you think, oh, I don't want to get a sponsor, I'm not a joiner, I'm not a person that I don't need a sponsor, I can just read through the steps and work them on my own. Okay. Are you staying clean and sober? Are you abstaining from addictive behavior? If you are abstaining from addictive behavior without having a sponsor, power to you. I'm not going to argue. But if you can't stay clean and sober, or you keep relapsing, or you can't stay abstinent from whatever addiction you're working on, that's when it's time for you to start taking other people's suggestions and stop listening to your own advice, because your own advice isn't working, right? That's that slogan in the program, the definition of insanity is repeating the same behavior, expecting different results. We keep listening to our own advice and it keeps screwing us up. So that's when it's time to try somebody else's advice. So usually a sponsor will say something like, call me every day for 30 days. And then after the 30-day period, we'll start working the steps. So a good thing a sponsor can say is something like, let's meet at a meeting once a week. I'll see you every day, every Friday at noon meeting. I'll meet you there. Maybe afterwards we'll go out for coffee. And it's good to go to a meeting, get a sponsor who you go to a meeting with. So it's somebody you really start to get to know. It's good to meet with them once a week, that you have coffee with them once a week, that you get together once a week to talk about the steps. You want to find a sponsor who's available. I strongly suggest that you get a sponsor who has a lot of recovery, somebody with 5 years or more abstinent from whatever addiction or codependency you're working on. Because the people with a longer term recovery are going to have more tools, more recovery, more suggestions, and perhaps be more available than somebody with less recovery. Now, other people I've known have suggested, get somebody with at least 2 years. So, minimum 2 years, I'd say the longer the better. But there are a lot of sponsors out there who may not be so good. So it's important that you use a little bit of discriminating action to pick a sponsor, because the good slogan is, you want to get a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor. You really want somebody who is also in the position of being a student and looking to their sponsor for support. So it's not somebody that just likes to tell other people what to do, but then doesn't have their own sponsor. They just kind of want to be the boss, because that's addict behavior in itself, and it's not somebody you really want to follow. So you want to pick a sponsor, somebody who has something that you want, and then they can teach you how they got what they have. You want to get somebody who's available. Somebody who answers the phone, somebody who returns phone calls, somebody who's really wants to be there for you, somebody that you feel safe with, that you feel wants to hear from you, that you're somebody that's important to them. You don't want to get somebody who has like 16 other sponsees and isn't available, never returns your calls, and doesn't have time to meet. That sponsor's overwhelmed, and it's probably better to find somebody else. I always say to people, if you don't have a car, get a sponsor with a car. Why not, right? Then they can pick you up and take you to meetings. If you don't have a car and you pick a sponsor who doesn't have a car, and you guys both can't ever get to meetings, maybe it works for you. I'm not trying to just say that everybody has to have a car. I'm just saying that, it's convenient for people who don't have a car. If you really want recovery, you got to get to those meetings, and it's sure helpful if you can get a sponsor who has one. So, look for somebody that they really have something that you want when picking a sponsor. And I strongly suggest that you take a sponsor and get a sponsor. And again, I can't say enough how important it is for you to get out of your comfort zone. So let me say that again. Get out of your comfort zone. If it feels uncomfortable and awkward to ask somebody to be your sponsor, good. That means you're doing something right. Ask that person to be your sponsor. You're doing it right. You're supposed to get out of your comfort zone. Because what's your comfort zone? Your comfort zone is addictive behavior. So getting out of your comfort zone is going to lead to letting go of addiction. And that's going to be the end of the segment on sponsorship.